This movie might as well have been called Pocahontas 2, The Journey to the Land Where Nothing Ever Happens, because an hour and a half of a movie, or an hour and 10 minutes or something, felt like nothing happened. Full disclaimer, Pocahontas 1 is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, or animated Disney movies, I guess. It's much more because of the animation and music, because those are absolutely excellent. I think the fact that they took Pocahontas and then kind of glorified, romanticized, or I don't really know how to say that, but they kind of made her life less dark and depressing than it actually was pretty stupid, especially since she went through all of these hardships in her life, like much more than just being a mediator for her tribe, but you know, a lot more inhumane stuff was done. Yeah, I think that was pretty stupid that they tried to make it seem like her life was daisies and roses, or what's that expression that it actually was? Daisies and lilies? No, that expression that's like something is prettier than it actually is. Smell the roses? No. Sunshine and daisies. Her life was like sunshine and daisies compared to what it actually was. But her life in the movie isn't sunshine and daisies, but like it is much more compared to a real life story. But anyways, Pocahontas 2 was really random. It could honestly just be summed up as Pocahontas goes to London to meet with the king and nothing else really happens because the plot is so linear and boring. It has some great comedy scenes, especially with the raccoon and the hummingbird and the dog. Like that trio might be one of the best trio in animation history, or best like side character animal groupling of funny comedic relief stuff. They had great scenes, but the problem is with this movie was that those great scenes only lasted for the first half. So after that, there's absolutely no point in watching the movie, because the first half of the movie, you watch it because those three have so much screen time that like you want to watch it for them. Then the second half of the movie, they get pretty much no screen time, so you're watching it for the pathetically boring and uninteresting plot. Anyways, let's get into this movie. Already like 45 seconds into the movie, there's an animation problem that I'm so freaking aggravated by. I don't even know why. This compass, okay? And not like the spinning wheel as I believe Pocahontas puts it in the first movie, but like the mathematical tool there. When the dude like lays it flat on the book, why is it like that? That doesn't make sense. The book, I need a book. The book is like this, and then the table is like, you know, here, but the compass is laying perfectly flat. That doesn't make sense. It should be like falling off like this, you know? But it's like flat, perfectly flat. For some reason, it aligns with the table and the book, even though the book is taller than the table. You get what I mean? I don't know, that just pissed me off so much. Okay, so John Smith is like in a wild goose chase because Ratcliffe, which is like the evil dude from the first movie, which I didn't even know was his name until I looked it up right now. He's following John Smith because reasons, or I guess, I mean, it might be because of the first movie about what he did and how he was like nice to the Native American people. I don't know. But yeah, he chases John Smith eventually off a building. John Smith's like hanging on by his fingers, and then the evil dude Ratcliffe steps on his fingers, and then he falls down a building into the water, a stream of water, so it's like flowing, right? So Ratcliffe thinks he's dead, and rightfully so. I mean, you fall down from a building into a stream of water. I mean, I think you're dead. I mean, I don't know how easy it is for people to die, but that seems like a way that people could die. Anyways, then skip to the next scene where Ratcliffe goes to the King of London and asks him to like wage war against the Native American who live in Virginia, because apparently they live in Virginia. I didn't know that, but they bring up Virginia quite a few times, and I looked it up online, and apparently they did live in the colony of Virginia, so Virginia. But then the king's like, let's wait for the arrival of John Rolfe, because I guess he was there being Virginia. Okay, now we got the title screen, and this bugs me also so much. Okay, luckily I didn't pick up on animation issues so far along later as I did right now, but why do these trees look like mountains? There's literally mountains on trees, and I don't get it. I don't. Was that so hard to do properly? Or do trees look like that? I don't know. I live in a cold area where there's winter and there's snow, and trees don't look like that. There's no mountains on trees. There's snow on trees. Even in forests, there's a lot of snow on trees, but there isn't freaking literal mountains. Anyways, the animation gets more steady, I guess, but it's like steadily boring. Anyways, it goes into like Pocahontas's shenanigans. You know, Pocahontas is like snowball fighting with her friend and 3 animal companions, Percy, Flit, and Miko, the friend from the first movie, which I wouldn't bother to learn the name of, except for the fact that she plays such little of a role in this movie. She probably has like, what, 2 minutes of screen time? And in those 2 minutes, she talks maybe like 1 time or something, because Pocahontas goes to the New World and her best friend doesn't accompany her, which I guess sort of makes sense because she would kind of be Pocahontas' grounding like factor, as in Pocahontas wouldn't be so easily assimilated, but no. And then we skip to Pocahontas grieving about John Smith's death, and I don't even know how she received that news because, okay, I don't know how much time passed between John Smith dying and Pocahontas, like, crying over it, but she's crying over it, and I don't know how, like, who told her? Did an Englishman come and tell her that John Smith died or something? Seemed kind of irrelevant to tell her because no one likes her. Except for, like, John Smith. Scratch that. There is another animation problem. Pocahontas walking on the snow during this song that isn't nowhere near as good as Colors of the Wind, but kind of has the same vibe, but just a lot worse. Why aren't her feet sinking into the snow? Why is she standing on snow? You know, you step on snow, okay? This is how snow works. You step on it, and your feet fall into it. Yet she's standing on it. She got some superpowers or something while Pocahontas awaits a ship to arrive. She bumps into this dude, and honestly, this part was kind of cool because it was really dark and, like, racist. Not saying that it's cool to be racist. I'm saying that it was really well done. She bumps into this dude who is carrying a bag of crackers, I think, because people love carrying a bag of crackers. She bumps into the dude, and he calls her a filthy barbarian. His voice acting, like, give this dude a raise. Either he was genuinely racist towards Aboriginal people, or either he's a great voice actor, and I'd like to think that it's because he's a great voice actor, but, you know, it's 1990-something. It could be either or. And then later on, this same dude is about to get trampled by a horse, and then Pocahontas pushes her out of the way, and then he still gets pissed at her, and I'm like, okay. He called her a bloody savage. This wasn't anywhere compared to, like, the first movie in terms of voice acting, at least I don't think so. But over here, it was so powerful, like, really, dude, props to you. Oh yeah, and because the dude gets pissed at her, her tribe that's waiting inside the woods come out. Her tribe brings out their weapons, and then the Englishmen that were hiding that appeared out of nowhere bring out their guns and stuff. So, you know, they're about to, like, fight each other, I guess. And then Pocahontas, you know, trying to be the meteor is like, stop it, don't do it. But no one's listening to her. And then John Rolfe comes out and he's like, stop it. And then both sides stop it. And Pocahontas is pissed at him because that means that no one will ever trust her. Which, I mean, understandable, because no one did trust her. She also doesn't feel like, you know, the white dude, well, because the white dude is telling everyone to stop, it's like they only listen, they're listening to the white people, so it's like a white superiority complex, which also understandable because she has to, you know, teach the white people, the Englishmen, that her tribe aren't savages as they think they are. Well, no one listening to her, anyone from her tribe, you know, it kind of proves that they'll never have authority over anything. So John Rolfe meets with the tribe leader, which is Pocahontas' dad. Side note, I thought this dude died. Apparently not. But I did look it up, and I believe he was murdered in real life, so good job, Disney. Oh, then again, if it was actually the dude, if this was a different dude from the dude who died in the first movie, being the one that I think Pocahontas was supposed to marry, and then that cowardly dude, the cowardly Englishman, kind of shot him when Pocahontas was kissing John Smith in the trees or something. I didn't watch Pocahontas 1 before watching this movie, and I probably should have. Anyways, I thought this dude died. A random dude from the tribe, Algonquin tribe, they're Algonquins. It's like, the British people only want to take over their land, and then Pocahontas is like, is that what they really want? Yes, Pocahontas, yes it is. That is exactly what they want. Oh, and side note, John Rolfe was also pretty sexist. Before, he's like, women. And then over here, he doesn't believe that Pocahontas being a girl can reason with the king, which I guess from his point of view kind of makes sense, but there are also like Native American tribes that are like monarchies. That's the opposite of a patriarchy, right? No, monarchy is like the queen. Matriarchy, that one, matriarchy, not the Queen Elizabeth kind of thing, but the women lead the tribe kind of thing. But yeah, there's just a little bit of sexism thrown here and there. But then Pocahontas' dad is like, no, Pocahontas will act as the tribe's ambassador, I guess. So she's gonna go to England and talk to the king, which is where the real story starts. Pocahontas isn't the ambassador, she's the diplomat. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than ambassador. So Pocahontas is about to board the boat, and then her animal friends are like, you know, they want to board with her. But she's like, you cannot go. And if that actually happened, I would have probably ended the movie right there. But thankfully, they found a way to sneak onto the ship. So on the boat, Miko, the raccoon, becomes a mop, and then the dog, I guess, becomes drunk. Awesome. Also, I feel like it's worth mentioning that Pocahontas, I think, has a bodyguard. I think he's a bodyguard. Oh, please forgive me if I butcher this name. But they do give him a nickname of Uti later on. Or Udi. I think Uti. Yeah, Uti. But his name is Utamatamakan. Or Utamatamakan. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's one or the other. He's there as her bodyguard, but honestly, he's just there for comedic relief. So they get to London, and Shakespeare is there. I think it's Shakespeare. So, cameo time. Woohoo. So this is where the real story begins, as I said. They're in London. Pocahontas has to go to the hunt ball. She has to convince the king that she's not a savage by changing her culture and stuff to appease the Englishmen. At this point, we're 35 minutes into the movie, and I guess the story is about Pocahontas becoming civilized, or civilized. There's really no substance to the plot, and I just had to piece together certain things here and there to understand that. Pocahontas has like a "you'll bring honor to us all" scene where she like dresses up like an Englishman, and she has like whiter skin, which I mean was kind of cool because I don't know if it's happened in other movies. Well, I mean, I guess it does. She puts powder on her face and her skin becomes like whiter, and it looks like there's actually powder on it, which I mean, cool, I guess. She has like a montage of like Shrek hairstyles. Then this scene was like the most powerful scene where my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped before. Yeah, with the dude's voice acting about the bloody savages and stuff like that. But anyways, in this scene, I didn't even introduce John Rolfe yet, but whatever. I guess he's so relevant that I'll just introduce him when I need to, which will be right after the scene. She takes off her necklace, I think it was a betrothal necklace. Either it was a betrothal necklace or either I just am thinking about Avatar because Qatar has one that kind of looks similar. But she takes it off and puts on a new necklace that, side note, is much uglier. And then John Rolfe is even surprised because he's like, what? Even though he doesn't know her connection with the necklace. He was shocked too, so, you know, props to you, dude. And then this evil witch from Snow White appears from nowhere. Oh, I forgot to mention that, like, Pocahontas has been telling the king at this point, or does tell the king at some point throughout the movie, 5-ish times, that she's like, let's talk about a peace treaty or, you know, peace and stuff. And the king's like, no, let's do this first and let's do that first. I don't know why that was relevant, but I guess to add more to the plot, you know, why the plot keeps on going forward, that's why. Because she never gets her audience with the king. Anyway, so the king is loving Pocahontas at the ball, you know, because Pocahontas is becoming like them, I guess, where she's well-mannered in their eyes, abiding by their customs and stuff like that. So good for her. But then a chained-up bear appears. Oh, this chained-up bear is this witch from Snow White's idea, and Ratcliffe, the evil dude, it's their idea to, or his idea, he told the witch person. I don't even know if the person is a witch, but the person looks like a witch, and looks like the witch from Snow White, except doesn't have like the mole on the nose. I think the witch from Snow White had a mole on the nose. But yeah, a chained-up bear appears, and then this chained-up bear is gonna be important for like the dumbest reason later on, by the way. Pocahontas is like, no, release him, you're acting like savages. And then the Englishmen are like, you're acting like savages, or you are a savage. Her and Udumaramakin. Yes, nailed it, I think. Well, yeah, and anyways, because she's like angry by this act of animal cruelty, they arrest her. Then it cuts away to a mysterious hooded man in a bar. Plot twist, but not really plot twist because, I mean, it's kind of obvious. And then he gets on his horse to save her. Pocahontas is in like prison now, or like in a dungeon or something. And then mysterious hooded man enters the castle. Plot twist, John Smith. Not really. So then they have like a mini reunion where I don't remember what happens. This mini reunion had more chemistry behind it than like John Rolfe and Pocahontas' entire story because they didn't have any chemistry. So apparently John Rolfe loves her. I don't remember exactly why, but something comes up and he loves her. Ooh, I think John Smith, I think he wants to protect Pocahontas. John Rolfe wants to protect Pocahontas, and John Smith's like, you love her. And I was like, wait, he does? There was pretty much zero indication of any chemistry between them at all. And then suddenly he's in love with her, so good for you. Well, anyways, Pocahontas takes off her like fancy clothes and walks into the king's room, king's court. John Smith reveals himself to be alive. He says that Ratcliffe lied to you. I'm actually alive, and he told you that I'm dead. In all fairness, you fall down a building into a stream of water. I think you're dead too. So, you know, can someone really blame him? And then the king is like, stop Ratcliffe! He's going to invade the Algonquin tribe in Virginia. And then Pocahontas is like, I'm telling the truth about whatever I'm saying. And then the king believes her entirely. I think it was probably in regards to how there was no gold in her land or something. Pretty much the whole conflict in this movie is resolved by Pocahontas saying that she's telling the truth. She's pretty persuasive, apparently. Since Ratcliffe's army is already on the way to invade her tribe back home, well, you know, they go to stop him, so they also board their boat. John Smith, like, boards the boat that Ratcliffe is on. He's like, I'm alive! And apparently that causes, like, literally everyone to jump off the ship because they're scared that he's an actual ghost. And then in this scene, apparently Udumaramakin could levitate because he's taller than the boat, and unless the hummingbird was like carrying him, this dude was like this dude's feet had to have been at the bottom of the ocean, and then his head is rising higher than the boat. So this dude's probably like 1,000 feet tall or something at this point, or however deep the ocean is at that point that they were standing. But this dude is apparently really tall in this one scene, which made no sense whatsoever. Now there's like a Ratcliffe versus John Smith fight. I don't understand why John Smith's playing such a big role at this point, because he's not even going to be like the main love interest of Pocahontas by the end. It would make more sense if John Rolfe was against him, but it was John Smith. So I guess they're still trying to push John Smith and Pocahontas, even though they end up separated. He takes it very well also, which I was like, okay. And then the finale, or the ending, the conclusion. So John Smith versus Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe ends up cast overboard. The king puts Ratcliffe in chains. John Smith and Pocahontas break up in like 2 seconds, and there's absolutely no emotional depth. John Rolfe goes to Virginia with Pocahontas. Uti, her bodyguard, Udumaramakin, stays behind with a maid that they encountered for some reason. he stays behind with her, and the chained up bear. Why to any of that stuff? He's staying behind in London with like an old woman who's a maid, who's like 50 plus years old for I don't know what reason, and a bear for I don't know what reason. Why? And then John and Pocahontas sail away, and then movie ends and there's some pretty credit song. That's it. Everything was just pretty boring. That would sum this up pretty well. Like, I'll never watch this movie again. I don't know how this video was such a mess, especially considering how simple the plot was, but yeah, judge for yourself. If you want to watch it, tell me how it went. Tell me what you thought. Tell me. Tell me, ta-da-ta-ta-ta, tell me.